Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
Time to say good morning to the Mayor of Horowhenua, Michael Feyen. Good morning, Michael.
Yeah, good morning, Nigel, and Beach FM listeners.
And you've got a lovely morning up there, you say?
Oh, now you're saying lovely. Yeah, well, the sun is poking through now, so I can say that it's getting lovelier.
Good on you. Now, you've got a public survey out, resident satisfaction survey underway. What sort of response do you get to that, Michael?
I don't know what the rate of that is at the moment, because Waipahu College are right in the middle of that at the moment, or about to start. So they basically just pick randomly numbers out of the white pages of the phone book, give people a ring and ask them a series of questions, which Nigel, I don't have in front of me.
No, that's okay.
At the moment, what the questions are.
No, well, I suppose it's a good chance for the Waipahu College to learn a little marketing at the same time and raise some funds. Do you pay them for this?
My understanding is that they get something out of it. You'd have to ask the CE that. That's an operational matter, but I'm sure they get something for all their efforts, because they do it from 6:30 to 8:30 on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and until June the 7th.
Right.
So, like I said, they're all randomly selected from white pages, and so we'll see what we shall see.
Yeah, well, I hope it's money well spent. I always think nowadays we don't get too many people on the old landline. It's cell phones, and you sort of need their views as well. But you can't do much about that, can you? You can't get the cell phone numbers.
There's no perfect system, and obviously computers don't work. I mean, when computers first come in, we're told we'd be working 3-day weeks, and that'll take all the hassle out of life. And look at us, we're all on it 24 hours a day. 7
days a week when you're a mayor. Now, how did your LTP submission hearings go?
I was really proud of the amount that we got. There was 900 pages of it.
Wow.
We had 80 that took the opportunity to speak, which I think is wonderful. We actually live streamed that as well. So, reasonably happy. It seems that local government, a lot of people think things are, well, she'll be right sort of thing until they get their rates bill. And so I'm pleased with anybody. There were some, and organisations as well, and there were some very good quality submissions.
Yes, and I suppose water was one of the ones that came up fairly regularly, did that?
Yeah, well, water did, but it was more on whether they want various areas want water supplied to them. They would rather live the way they are, with supplying their own water and looking after their own wastewater, and that was particularly evident with Waikawa.
Yes.
Who don't want anything extra out there, and I can see their point of view.
Well, you don't mind that too. I mean, if they want to do it, you got to let them do it, I suppose, have you?
Well, Waikawa, yes, I think so. Well, the thing with Waikawa too is it has such a high water table, and there's so much problems around the dunes at the moment getting washed away.
Yes.
And so even people that have land there to develop are saying it's not ideal.
Right. And what about sewage systems out there at Ohau? Was there much debate about that?
All of those things were put in with no real costings to them. I mean, there'll be a lot of talk. Deliberations, actually, the council deliberations are next Wednesday.
Oh, yes.
That we start on those. So, we'll get more of a feel then, I would say, really, Nigel.
Right.
Whether people from this area, we're only a small area, and to do infrastructural things like that is something you really have to measure up the true value.
Right.
And if the predictions and assumptions and of the levels of increase in people that are coming to live here are correct,
yes.
They may or may not be.
Right. And another one of a smaller, well, it's not a smaller nature, it's a big urgent one for those who live around the local halls, because the council deciding, well, we can't really afford to keep them going. That'll be a big debate, will it?
I would say that it would be quite a large one, Nigel.
Yeah, right. I mean, they are a centre...
Because a lot of the residents of those areas actually paid for their own halls.
Yes.
And it is going to be pretty interesting. It seemed to be relatively even, I think, on whether to sell or to keep, but when I found out what it was going to cost to earthquake save a couple of those buildings, I'd be going that way.
Yeah, sure.
Personally, I mean, when I heard the figure, I thought, well, man, that's just infinitely less than a rebuild, or because some of the towns there, they need these halls. They're vital.
Yes.
That's their community centres. which I'd like to see halls used more as, actually.
Right. And I don't suppose you've got much choice. I mean, the earthquake requirements, you think about these halls being built way back years and years and goes, and they've stood up to every earthquake that you can think of. I mean, they're not going to fall down tomorrow, are they?
Well, personally, I don't think so, no. Otherwise, they already would have. We've had some monster earthquakes here over the last 10 years and beyond. So, you know, a lot of people will say that it's just a clipboard holding an industry that's been created out of it, and it's just going to be more cost on the people. I think that the thing that we should be really focusing on even more is just the verandas of a lot of these buildings.
Yeah, sure. And of course, you had that. Members of the community, you know, had their say on submissions on the priority buildings, earthquake-prone buildings. They had it up until about, end of March, I think. Did they respond much to that? I'm thinking of Oxford Street, you know, which is fairly old buildings, very well used.
Oh, yeah, there are some old buildings, and I mean, you know, I would say that some are definitely going to be flicked off by the look of it, and but I can't make any prediction on that because I've got to wait for the vote. But you know, places like Shannon were hugely strong in fighting for their hall, and you know, but when you've got to pay $400 or $500 a night for a hall, that to me is an outrageous price.
Yes.
For anybody when it's actually a community-owned hall.
Yes, yeah, that's right. Now, there was some Horowhenua Council secret payout. What was this all about, Michael? I was trying to get my head around it. Horowhenua Council's chief executive confidentially agreed to provide nearly $1 million to Te Rananga Orokawa, provided it did not object to... Yes, I have read
that. It's an ongoing situation is the best I'm going to talk about that, Nigel, because I don't want to cause any further problems than what we've probably already got.
Okay.
In relation to that. But really what it borders around is that I never knew about it.
So that's a little unusual, isn't it, for a mayor not to know about it?
To me, it's outrageous. And just speaking with other mayors, they think it is too. So that's just the way it is. And so we'll work that out because we don't want. I always aim for win-win, Nigel.
Yeah. And
try and keep clear communication. So. Or, you know, I would just say that is definitely ongoing, though.
Okay. But you'd think the mayor would have to sign off on any of things like this amount of money they're talking about here, wouldn't you?
Well, you know, I haven't really seen the document.
Oh, I see.
Right. You know, I would absolutely say that anything like that should be signed by governance, by the elected mayor.
Oh, well, we'll hear more about that in due course.
That's how we build relationships. They're so vital with tangata whenua, mana whenua. I can't begin to describe how important it is these days to do everything right from the get-go and be inclusive, and then results happen a lot quicker. So, yeah. So
will this come back into council business in due course?
I'm going to give you a rain check on that answer, Nigel. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. It's a little bit confidential, you might say, at this stage.
Well, it's that, and it's also you know, that it's with the appropriate people, and that's for them to make some decisions, and so I'm just going to go from there.
Okay.
But frankly, any sort of relationships with any groups or anything, I want to be involved in that, so I intend to be.
Okay. Now, I see this year's MB's Taking Care of Business Roadshow is coming to Levin. Have you been involved with that or heard about that? They're stopping in Te Takari, 30th of May. I invite you to attend to first hand about the range of government support services available to your businesses. Now, that could be very useful for Horowhenua, couldn't it?
Yeah, well, it'll be useful for everywhere. I mean, you know, the government clearly operates differently to the last one, so some things take time to bed in. But I can say the amount of meetings I've been to where ministers have actually turned up is staggering. I never saw that in the last government at all.
All right, so that'll be there. And just finally, I won't hold you up too long, but I see Te Awa Horowhenua Stream wins Public Architecture Award. Now, you'd be pretty pleased with that, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah, well, of course. I mean, it's the last type of building you'd ever expect to see in Foxton, but there's a lot of changes happening in Foxton as well, so that was a very good award to win. It was the Western Architectural Award, so it was for public architecture. So, of course, everybody that's been involved should be giving themselves a pat on the back.
Yeah, was that a New Zealand award because it was a public architect?
These were national awards.
Yeah, so that's a huge, isn't it? But I was talking to Arjan van der Boon earlier this week last week to congratulate him on his award, and he's a very proud man, and rightly so. And a lot of people who have been there from the Kapiti Coast say they sort of thought, oh, why go to Foxton to look at that? But when they got there, they couldn't get away.
No, and, Arjan, I've known Arjan for a long time now, and because I went up to Auckland all those years ago to speak with him and his group up there about coming to us instead of T-Rows sort of thing.
Yes.
And so, he would be a proud man. His father won one as well.
Oh, right.
And that would be reasonably uncommon, so it was a pleasure for me to write the letter of support for that. So... good on him, and that it happened in with the ambassador Rob Zaakman from the Netherlands. He was there, and to do that at Foxton on the big Dutch day out and the Dutch King's birthday was pretty cool. Yeah,
good. And have you had much response from your vehicle in the back of the mall there to get an idea how you'd like to see the town centre developed?
Yeah, I would say, I've been given numbers, and I would have liked to have seen way more people given its visibility and everything. I think there's been something like 380, but it's been there for a while.
Yeah.
But, the council's trying everything it can to get people interested in their own area. And so I think that the attempts at a consultation have been really good by the staff, and they've been the people that I know that have been and put their 2 cents worth in have all said that the HDC staff were very, very helpful and knowledgeable, and so it's been positive in the sense that it's there, but I personally would have liked more people, but it's there, and it's along with all the other advertising and everything else that's been done in the written media and by radio. I think it's a pretty good attempt.
So will that come into a long-term plan situation, or does it just stay on the table for the time being?
Well, transforming Taitoko Levin, it's not a 2-minute process, so that would just be weighing up what people are thinking, really, and then go from there.
Yeah, sure.
That's pretty much it.
All right, Michael, we thank you for your valuable time today. We won't be speaking to you in a fortnight. I see you're away at that stage, but 13th of June is our next little chat, so we look forward to it.
Oh, okay. Where am I going?
I don't know.
I'll have to have a look at that.
Yes, you're not available, it says.
Yeah, well, I'm thankful for working that out, and that that's pretty cool, Nigel.
Good idea.
Hey, you take it easy, and thank you to Beach FM listeners. Have a lovely week.
Thank you very much, Michael Feyen, the Mayor of Horowhenua here on Beach FM.
106.3 Beach FM.